lost. Start to advance. It's our last stand. This is where we turn the tide.
We are attacking Bravo 1. Artillery cover coming. Get ready to engage.
Strategic beacon ready to deploy.
Coming. Get ready to engage.
You're discharged.
Why I haven't been covering Delta Force. You know, I have really been thinking about making this video, or I should say what I'm going to say when I'm making this video, because for the longest time I have not been enjoying Delta Force. I really haven't, y'all, if I'm going to be honest.
Alright, let's dispense with the 500-pound elephant in the room, huh?
And yes, I understand that I was glazing up this game, I was hyping up this game, and I was covering this game and streaming this game, saying, oh, I got invited to the pre-alpha test, I got invited to the pre-beta test, I got this, I got that, I'm like on my Rad Brad stuff. And yes, I enjoyed the game back then, don't get me wrong, and honestly, there's still part of me somewhere that still enjoys this game, but the love that I once had for this game is long since gone, that's long been gone. And there's a multitude of reasons why it's been gone, but I think for the main majority reason is because this game is boring. And when I'm telling you this game is boring, I mean this game is boring as hell. And I mean, don't get me wrong, when the game is fun and you have like very good lobbies going and you have people that is actively wanting to win and your team is working together like you're supposed to, like, this game is fun. It's one of the best FPSs I have probably played in a while. But when I tell you, you get into one of these high ping European servers, you get into one of these like degenerate sweat lobbies, like, you know, the ones that say that like they're part of FaZe when they're not really part of FaZe, they're false flagging. They're the ones that sit in their room all day playing Call of Duty, playing Battlefield, playing old ass FPS games, snorting G Fuel, claiming that they're part of FaZe, playing this game, and on the opposite team is you in Delta Force. The game is not fun. And there's also another reason why the game isn't fun. It's because, to me, the SBMM, the skill-based matchmaking, that they openly came out and said that they made their own take of it, in my eyes, it completely ruined the game. It really did. Because one minute you're in a good lobby, you got high skill players on your team, you got people that know what they're doing, you got people that's healing you and reviving you, like taking out tanks, like, and covering fire for you, like in the front lines or in the back of the map with snipers. But that's another video for another day. I hate sniping in any game. But anyways, like, when you have those type of people on your squad and like they're part of your brethren, like, the game is fun. But on the opposite side of the coin, when you're on the opposite side of that, the game is not fun at all. Because in 1 minute let me just put it to you like this. 1 minute you're fending off campers and hiding in corners on maps that on the conquest modes, and then the next moments you're dealing with snipers that completely aren't contributing anything to their team. They're just camping on top of like cell phone towers, or they're camping on top of like high-rise buildings, or they're camping on top in the back of mountains, in bushes, with all type of camping devices, like the whole match. When I tell you, when dealing with that in this game of all games, at one point I was able to deal with that in games like Call of Duty and Battlefield, but you know, dealing with it in Delta Force, it's not fun at all. It really isn't. And let me also preface this by saying this. when I actually loved this game in the pre-alpha and in the beta tests, this game was one of the best FPS games I ever played. On top of X Defiant, which is getting shut down in about a month. So rip bozo to them, because Ubisoft not only can't make a good game to save their life, they can't actually be bothered to update their game if it's supposed to be a live service game, and the game was free. So, and also, I also forgot to mention that part. This game is free, by the way, y'all. It doesn't cost you anything to play this game. Evidently so, because the last time I checked the Steam charts, which was about like 20 minutes ago, there was 137,000 people on Steam playing this game. And 137,000 people out of what, 8 billion people on this earth, and this game is free? Honestly, that's nobody. That's next to nobody. And a multitude of that reason why I say that is because for the longest time they have been saying that Delta Force is coming on consoles. And it's the middle of May. It's like the beginning of May of 2026. The full 1.0 build came out more than a year ago, I believe. And we still don't have any news regarding the console releases. They keep saying that they're doing the tests. They keep saying that they're doing this, they're doing that, they're doing this, they're doing that. They haven't showed any gameplay of that. They haven't showed any footage of that. Then it came out and said that the console release has been delayed indefinitely for whatever which reason. Because honestly, they should have had that done. And I don't know what they're doing over there, but it's evident that they're not working on the console version. They're focused on PC, and I think that's going to be their downfall. Because you can only have so many people playing your game on PC when you have other games like Marvel Rivals that's about to come out. And on top of that, Battlefield 6, the alpha test for Battlefield 6 is going on, and the leaks, the more and more this new Battlefield game leaks, and the more and more good it looks leak wise, and you got people playing the game the right way in the leaks, like, and you got EA holding up their word for like the first time in however long about this next Battlefield game being a true Battlefield game, that, and they're focusing on it being good out the gate and being finished and polished out the gate. You're honestly not going to keep a player base that long. And to me, Delta Force had everything in the world to succeed. They really didn't. Battlefield is at the lowest it has ever been. And this is coming from someone who played Hardline and enjoyed Hardline. The only reason that people didn't like Hardline was because it was basically a fixed Battlefield 4, and they're charging $60 for it, and it came out a year after Battlefield 4, and it was supposed to be DLC. But again, they had every angle, they had everything in the world to succeed. Battlefield is at the lowest it's ever been, and Battlefield 2042 is completely dead. There's nobody playing that game as of May 6, 2025. Not only that, Call of Duty is dead, and if Battlefield is dead too, they didn't have any excuses on why this game shouldn't be dominating Steam charts every week. They had every excuse in the book to do everything right with this game. They didn't have any excuse to not do anything with this game, especially if it's a free-to-play live service title. But I'll get back to that in 1 minute. Now, the things that I did like about Battlefield, Delta Force, I'm sorry, is that, I mean, honestly, if you didn't know any better, you would think this game is Battlefield. But if you're an OG that played the original Delta Forces, you would know the difference. But any which way, the main thing that I love about Delta Force is the gunplay. It's strictly gun on gun, you're done. If you get to jump on somebody and you have a good connection, you're going to drop them every single time. That was what I was going to say until as of recently, when I noticed the meta for Delta Force has completely changed. Because when I was playing the beta and I was streaming the game in the beta and in the pre-alpha tests, the main guns, every single gun to me felt balanced. And they included in the gunsmith, so you can customize your gun however you want for either short range engagements or medium range engagements, an all-around build or a long range build. You can pretty much customize your gun however you want. But since the alpha test and the beta test and the 1.0 build coming out, the game is a complete, like, almost new game from what I'm noticing from my gameplay that I've been seeing as of recently, and other people's gameplays that I've been seeing too. And what I mean by that is, take for example, they also switched around what classes use which guns. And honestly, they shouldn't have changed it. It was perfect the way it was. Because my favorite class was the medic class. And I loved using Stinger because I can heal myself and I can heal my teammates. And I'm mainly a support class anyways. I have tons of Marvel Robin footage where I'm strictly playing support for a reason, because A, nobody else want to play support, and B, I'm one of the best support members of the support brethren that there is in FPS games. So I say that because, like, when I was playing the pre-alpha test, the Scar H was my favorite gun to use, and it was one of the best guns to be using. When you unlock that gun, you felt like God when you're using that gun. And if you have all the attachments, all the right attachments, and tune it right, it's one of the best guns in the game, hands down. Now, in the 1.0 build, they took away the medic. They took away the Scar H for the medic classes, and how it was in the pre-alpha and the beta, it was the medic and the engineer that had the Scar H. Now, for which reason they didn't give it to Assault, but I think Assault would have been too overpowered with that gun. So, the Scar H was given to the medic class or the support class, and it was given to the engineer class. Now, they took away, in the 1.0 build, they took away the Scar H from the medic class and the support class and gave it to the recon class of all people, because for whatever which reason, they thought it would be a good idea for a camp-based oriented class like recon that don't do anything to contribute to their team aside from camping in the back of the map with spawn beacons and camping the whole match. And they decided to give them a Scar H to run around with. And if they wanted to give Recon a gun like the Scar H, what they could have done was they could have gave the Recon class a Scar L, or like a 5.52 or like a 5.56 Scar. And meanwhile, the support and the engineers have the 7.62 Scar H. That's what they should have done in my eyes. But no, they didn't want to do that. But not like that matters, because, like I said before, the meta for Delta Force has completely changed. And what I mean by that is that mainly the best guns in any FPS games is fast time to kill guns. And I've noticed this because when I was going back and I was playing Black Ops 2 again after a couple years on Plutonium, I noticed that the best guns in Black Ops 2 was obviously the MP7. It was obviously guns that had a fast time to kill, and especially on ARs that had the automatic attachment that made it a fully auto weapon. Those guns ruled lobbies back in the day. It didn't matter if you had a good gun like the M8A1 or if you had a good gun like the SWAT 5.56. It didn't matter unless you were running into somebody who had a shotgun and they're shooting it from 15 yards away, or they're using a MP7, or they're using a PP90 from Modern Warfare 3. But the meta in Delta Force is that basically you have everybody, most of everybody, I should say, is either running around with an MP5, with a short barrel MP5, or they're running around with like some type of fast firing submachine gun, and they're pretty much bunny hopping around the entire match, getting kills and farming kills, and not even capping the objectives or playing the objective. So basically, not only has the game have pretty much boiled down to recons camping in the middle like the back of the map on top of cell phone towers with spawn beacons, pretty much getting kills and beaming people from far away, and using I forgot her name, but it's the recon class that has it's the recon character that has the arrow that you can spot enemies through the wall. That's also another thing that I also wanted to mention. They still haven't fixed that complaint from people, including myself, where basically Luna's arrow that makes you have wall hacks for the whole entire team. Basically, how the meta is basically if one team has more Lunas than the other team is gonna lose, because basically Luna is basically gonna spam her wall hack arrows, and pretty much everybody and anybody on her team can pretty much see the enemy at any time. And we've been telling them for months that all they had to do was just basically up the cooldown on or like at least make the time that you see enemies through walls at least half of what you normally see, because not only does she have one wave where everyone can see enemies from like through walls and everything else, but it also has a second wave where if enemies are still moving, by the time that timer goes off, you can still see enemies through walls. So all they just had to do was just make it as to whereas Luna, the only people that can see Luna's arrows is the people that's in her squad. That's pretty much all they had to do. So at least that way, there's more team play. there's more team play going, and there's more of an incentive to have a Luna on your squad, not the whole team having a Luna. But back to the guns. Like I said, the gunsmith is really good, but not that matters, because not only is there meta guns in the whole entire game, if there's not people running around with the M4A1 as an assault class, if there's not people running around with an MP5 or any fast time to kill SMG as Stinger, or if anybody is not running around with like a K4A1 or any type of fast firing gun, all of the, or like an AKS or anything like that from the assault class or whatever class that has that gun, the AKS, there's like a huge problem going on, and that's the fact that the other guns are completely useless. And what I mean by that is, like, there's a lot of guns, especially like the AK-47 or like the AKM-74, that's supposed to be like a 7.62 monster, right? And it's a slow firing gun for a reason, because it's shooting 7.62s. But for whatever which reason, the AKS or the AKS-74 or any type of 7.62 weapon that's outside of a fast time to kill gun like a MP5 or a K4A1 is basically useless in the game, because basically it takes 5 or 6 shots to kill somebody in this game with these guns. And I don't know how much, or like, I don't know who was designing the stats for these guns, but if you're going to tell me that the damage is going to be 26 or 27 for each shot that lands at distances, or like all around distances, but then you go to the game and it's nothing like a 27 per shot damage gun. Because by the time, and with the movement that's in this game, by the time you're landing your 3rd or 4th shot, they're running for cover or they're dolphin diving off to cover. So you're not even, or to get heals from a Stinger or any of the other support character. So there's genuinely no incentive to use guns like that if you're not going to drop them within 4 clean shots, including a headshot. And I spoke about the specialist before, and I'll basically say it again. Specialist, to me, I feel like this was one of the main deterrents for this game. And what I mean by that is, now don't get me wrong, Specialist is good in games if it's done right. For example, and you know I hate Call of Duty, trust me, I really do hate Call of Duty, and I hate Activision. But the one thing fundamentally that I will give to Activision regarding Modern Warfare 2019 and Modern Warfare Roman numeral 2 and 3 is that the fact that there's different operators on both factions. So if you're on one faction in one game, and then you're on another faction in the other, you're not playing as the same operator. You have different operators that work on the allies and the opposing forces, which makes it easier to figure out who the hell you should be shooting. And this was one thing that I begged the Delta Force developers and even the publisher of Delta Force to include, and even add later down the line, like Rainbow Six Siege. Because at least in Rainbow Six Siege, you have different operators that work on both sides. In Call of Duty Modern Warfare, you have operators that work on both sides, so nobody looks the same. And even in the cutscenes where they're hyping up this great war, or like this modern day big ass war, and corporals are getting involved, like the militaries are getting involved, like there is only like what, like 10, 12 operators in the whole game. And then on top of that, like all there is just 2 or 3 assault class characters. There's like 2 engineers or 3 engineers, there's 2 support characters, and then there's 2 recons. And then they're both working on both sides of the same coin. So my thing is, if they're going to be hyping up this great war and they're going to be telling a story through each season or in the middle of seasons, what they should have done was that the enemies that they show in the cutscenes, why not have them as operators that work on the opposing forces? And then have the regular Delta Force characters on the Delta Squad or whatever they're calling it for the allies. And then the enemies that they have in the Delta Force like cutscenes, have them work on the opposing forces. And I don't understand, why is that such a hard concept for FPS games, especially like Battlefield 2042, to not comprehend? And you know, somewhere along the line, someone probably said, well, Eddie, it might actually be too much work to include operators that work on both factions. So why not just have operators that work on both sides? But what happens if all the characters look the same? That's the player's problem. They didn't buy skins to make them look different. That's their problem.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!
You gotta admit, somewhere along the lines of this game being released or being published, like this conversation at least had to be brought up at least 6 times. So not only do we have specialists that work on both sides and everybody looks the same and you can't tell who's on your side Well, unless you're actually looking above their head to see if they're whatever color that you set the enemy color in your game. Like, not only that, but they also want to incentivize you to buy skins. That's basically what it is. They saw Call of Duty and they saw Rainbow Six making money off of skins, and they see Fortnite making money off skins, and they basically said, we would like that type of microtransaction money, please. That's basically all it is. And I mean, if you're gonna do that, at least have different operators that work on both sides so you could tell your factions apart. And I don't have a problem buying skins in games as long as the game is either A, free, B, free and it's a functioning game, or at the very least it's a functional, fun game. And that also leads into my next segment that I'm going to talk about, the skins. Now, where do I even begin with this subject? Now, to begin with, in the pre-alpha and while they were advertising this game and while they were coming out with information regarding this game and how the skins would work, they said, and I can bring this up, that the Delta Force developers and the publisher said that it's going to be grounded to earth skins in the game. Now, of course, you're going to have guns with fancy colors. You're going to have your gold guns. You're going to have like your diamond guns, or like guns with fancy camos like gold, wood grain, or whatever they want to call it, all white, all red, all blue, whatever the case may be, or even camo skins. But you look at this, you look at the skin store, or you go to the bundle store for where they're selling the skins for, and there's all type of goofy shit in there. There's even one for the Scar H where it's a complete video game, like almost like a Nintendo Game Boy type skin in the game, and I'm only looking at this like, these niggas lied, bro. These punk ass niggas lied to us. And now don't get me wrong, some of these skins do look good and decent, but there's also one problem. Now, I also didn't even know this up until as of recently, but you can also, if you buy a skin, right, apparently you can customize the skin however you want in like the gunsmith in like different colors. Say if you want it like a different color, say if you want like a different trim on it, you can do that, and then you can sell it on the marketplace, and then you can trade Delta coins or whatever it is. But then I'll also get into that in a second. When you get into like the skin store, like why is there like 3 or 4 currencies? Okay, first of all, you got Delta coins, then you got the Delta tickets, and then you got the cryptos, or like, I don't know, fucking Monopoly money, I don't know. But there's like 3 or 4 different type of currencies, and one of the currencies is Delta tickets, and specifically for one of the skin bundles for, I believe his name was D-Wolf, I think his name is D-Wolf, or the one that has like the exosuit, like it's Advanced Warfare or Black Ops 3, and he can run super fast and get to and slide faster, that type of specialist that's in the game. I forgot his name, but I think his name is D-Wolf, and for D-Wolf, there's like this black and gold bundle that I really genuinely wanted in the game, and I was willing to pay money for it. But then they set up like this, almost like a loot box system with this bundle. And what I mean by that is, if you go to the bundle, right, you can't just outright buy it with real life money or like Delta coins with real life money. Like, no, you have to get Delta tickets, right? And then the only way to get Delta tickets is by getting the Delta coins. And by getting the Delta coins, you have to pay real money. And then by using the Delta tickets, like, basically how they're doing it is, you have like, you pay 1 Delta ticket for like the first 2 or 3 turns, right? For like the first 2 or 3 pack openings, right? And then you only get 1 item. You only get 1 item in that pack opening. And pretty much what people told me was, and I looked this up, like there's like 13 items in the doggone thing, right? There's the sprays, which nobody uses. You have the calling cards, which barely anybody uses. Then you also have stuff like the emotes, and then the voice lines, which if you want your character to sound different compared to other people, I mean, that's good. At least they're adding in different voice lines, so I don't have to hear the same voice lines over and over again, because again, everybody is running around as the same operator. But then you also have the black and gold skin. Then you also have for like D-Wolf or whatever his name is. Then you also have the black and gold M4A1 skin. That was basically all I wanted, was the M4A1 black and gold skin, and then the black and gold D-Wolf skin or whatever his name is skin. And then I'm opening it up, right? I spent like $15. So I opened up like 4 or 5 packs, and then I still don't have the gold D-Wolf skin. Like what I got a stupid calling card of the operator that has the black and gold like suit on or like the camo on for his character, but guess what? I don't have it in game, so basically it's useless. It's basically like a 94 Babe Ruth calling card, but of course you can't do anything with it because it's a 94 Babe Ruth, and I don't think Babe Ruth was even in the MLB at that point. Then the next pack opening I got was stupid ass voice lines. I think that costed 2 Delta tickets, which I think is anywhere from like 300 to 500 Delta coins. Next pack I opened, that was the third and final pack I did, and then I gave up. Then I got a stupid ass like emote for D-Wolf that I don't even use for the operator skin. And then after that, I was done. And then I'm looking it up on the subreddit. I'm looking it up on Reddit and on YouTube videos. Like, why can't I buy this bundle for a said price? And then they said it's basically a loot box. And it completely gives you stuff at random with no duplicates. So basically what that means is the ones or like the items in that bundle that you truly want, that shit will not even get to you unless you spend like a certain amount of money or depending on the high probability of you getting it that day. And then someone looked it up. Matter of fact, I'll look it up right now. Okay, so I immediately looked it up, right? And for this gold skin that I was talking about, for the Rose Charm theme, for the operator that I was talking about, there's somebody here, and I'm bringing up the screenshot now, that spent $150 on the new skin for like the whole entire bundle to get not only the skin, but also to get everything in that pack, right? And then they're saying that it's pay to win because he's saying that he feels like he's running twice as fast. Now, I haven't seen any tests regarding that, but honestly, I wouldn't even be surprised if like they added in something where you feel twice as fast at what you're running at. But the fact of the matter is that you can possibly spend upwards of $150 on this skin bundle, and before you even get to that cap, you don't even get the thing that you truly want until like you get to that $150 mark. And I've seen people on YouTube that get the thing that they actually want, like the gold M4A1 or the gold skin for the operator, in like 1 or 2 pack openings. But I mean, to me, that's highway robbery that it's even on a lottery system like that. If you want to have a skin in your game, at least sell it to me. Sell it to me for like $15, $20 and then be done with it. Because imagine, like, you want this skin, right? And then you don't know any better because the game barely tells you that this is on a lottery system and you have to open up packs and get Delta tickets with Delta coins that you have to spend with real money, right? And then if anybody don't know any better, they can end up just keep buying and buying and buying and buying and buying the doggone Delta coins to get the Delta tickets, because after each pack opening, it gets more and more expensive. So they can hypothetically spend up to $150 before they even have the whole entire bundle. And you want to sit up here and tell me with a straight face that you guys wanted this game to be not pay to win, and you guys wanted this to be an eco-friendly skin economy. Dude, after $15 of this, I was done. I was not gonna buy another skin again after this, because not only did I feel robbed after doing all of this to get this gold skin, but to tell you the truth, in Delta Force, in the stores, there is absolutely nothing worth having there. Either the skins are boring, uninspired, or generic, or they're just basic skins that you would get in like the mastery camos or the mastery skins for your guns in like Call of Duty or Battlefield. And basically all these problems that I just told you guys, and it just results in a combination of one big problem, and all it is just a snowball effect. Because after this, I genuinely did not like this game anymore. I really didn't. Between the skill-based matchmaking, the egregious skin bundles that they have, the lottery-based system in this game, meta guns, and guns feeling like they're bullet sponges, and overall sweat-based lobbies that you get put in after having one good game, basically resulted in me basically going with my boy Michael, aka Perfect Sushi Roll, and basically being addicted to Marvel Rivals instead. Because at least with Marvel Rivals, they will at least tell you that with skins, not only is the skins, they have skins that is true to the comics and it's true to the MCU movies, but at least when you buy the skin or the skin bundle, like, you get what you pay for all at once. You don't have to jump through any hoops. You don't have to do anything. You just get it up front if you want to, and guess what? It's not pay to win. It's specifically to make your character look cool or look just like how they did in the MCU movies. And I will tell you right now, the disappointment that I have for Delta Force at this juncture of all junctures is nothing short of insufferable. My disappointment for this game is at a sky high. It really was, because I was enjoying this game. I really does. And a matter of fact of the matter, let's call it a spade a spade. This game was basically here to just scratch that Battlefield itch that we all got while they're finishing up Battlefield 6 or whatever they're calling this next Battlefield game that's getting leaked left, right, and center that is supposed to be under NDA for Battlefield Labs. And while like you're seeing all this leaked footage for Battlefield 6, like it basically just made people hop on Delta Force just to get that scratch of the itch, or hop on any of the older Battlefields that's not 2042. And let's also call it what it is. Them not putting out a console version of this game with the PC launch of this game was utterly what killed all momentum for this game. They should have been had it on consoles, because if you have people that's on PC and then you want people to be playing this game with controller on console, why not at least slave a little bit more, or at least work a little bit more to make sure that the console versions was out along with the full 1.0 build of the PC version? But no, they didn't want to do that. And to me, I felt like that they just specifically wanted this game to be a PC exclusive. But look at what this getting it now. There's main YouTubers that stopped playing Delta Force and they just went off to play Marvel Rivals, or they went off to play other single player games while they are waiting on the next announcement for the Battlefield 6. And they're basically looking all over Reddit, all over Twitter for all the leaked footage that's coming out for the next Battlefield game. Now, will I still play this game? Probably. But there's honestly that's kind of a lie, because for like the past month and a half straight, or like 2 or 3 months, I have been hooked on Marvel Rivals on my PlayStation. I have not had any desire to go back to Delta Force. I really haven't, because you go and play a game like Marvel Rivals, not only is the load times faster, and not only does you got millions and millions of people playing it, and it dethroned Overwatch, and rightfully so, because Activision Blizzard is one of the worst corpos in the gaming industry. They really are. You go and play a game like Marvel Rivals, you go and play a game like Delta Force, and it's a night and day difference between not only how they advertise skins and basically how they prioritize the game in general. Because I forgot to mention that too, at least in Marvel Rivals, you can see how many times you died in a lobby. In Delta Force, you can't see how many times you died, because it might hurt people's feelings. Grown sensitive men, grown women getting like in their feelings because they died X amount of times in a Delta Force game or a shooter game that's rated mature. What has the world come to? But anyways, at this juncture of all junctures, this game has been a massive letdown. This game has been a disaster. Not a disaster per se, but in terms of like how they're handling this game has been nothing short of a disaster. And you want to know something? How can I say this? How can I say this without being disrespectful or rude? I really want my motherfucking Delta Force check for me glazing this game and me putting people onto this game. I really do. Because people got mad at the Act Man for hyping up this game, and you can clearly tell, if you had common sense, you would know it's a sponsored video, right? And you can honestly make the argument that Act Man didn't say it was a sponsored video, but I knew it was a sponsored video right away. So, like, honestly, people gave him shit for that, and they gave him a nice check for that, but I seriously want my check for actually glazing and hyping up this game. I really do. And the fact that I don't have one is also making me kind of upset. Especially when back then when I was actually enjoying this game last year when the pre-alpha was going on. I want my finder's fee and I want my sponsorship check for Delta Force. I really do. Because the fact that they're cutting people all these checks for Delta Force and the game only has 137,000 people playing the game, including me, honestly, I should have been one to at least advertise this game, because I'll at least call it what it is. And you know what? Battlefield, EA, DICE, Criterion, whoever's making, like, I'm pretty sure it's all the EA studios that's coming together to make Battlefield Labs, and they're one big Battlefield, like, developer now. But EA, DICE, whatever y'all gonna call Battlefield 6 or whatever y'all gonna call it, y'all gotta do something. Y'all gotta bring it this next Battlefield game. Y'all can't have no screw-ups with this next Battlefield game. Because let's call it what it is. The only reason people was playing X-Defiant was because Call of Duty is at its low point. It's a clown show, literally. They're adding Seth Rogen to the game. They're adding Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to the game. They're adding Shredder to the game that don't use guns, by the way. And Battlefield, well, Battlefield has been on a decline for a decade. After Battlefield 1, they have completely lost touch with what a Battlefield game should be. Battlefield 6, whatever it's gonna be, like, I know that the leaks are coming out and the game looks good. Y'all gotta bring it this time. Y'all being dead certain that this is gonna be one of the best true down-to-earth Battlefield games that we gotten since Battlefield 3 and 4, with the immersion of Battlefield 1 and the movement of Battlefield 5, y'all gotta put y'all money where y'all mouth is this time. Because if y'all don't bring it this time, Battlefield is truly gone and over this time. And we're gonna be stuck with Delta Force. And you know, competition is really good, and I'm not saying Delta Force should be dead or anything like that, but Delta Force gotta bring it too. The next Delta Force game that they put out, and honestly, what they should do is, the next title, it should be a $60 title or a $70 title. If they're dead certain on having skins or whatever, or at the best, they could keep it a free title. Keep it a free title, make a sequel, and then basically have a paid-for campaign, be done, and then be done with it. Just like what Battlefield's doing. Have a free extraction mode, and then the multiplayer and the campaign, you gotta pay for. Because if that's what y'all want to do, so be it. But y'all got to bring it and truly be competitors and not just copy each other for what y'all want, so y'all can have skin sales or bundle skin sales. That's all I'm simply saying. So let me know what you guys think about this video, because I just had to get this off my chest for the longest time. I have wanted to make this video for the longest time, and honestly, people have mentioned why haven't I been covering Delta Force, and I just wanted to set the record straight. So with that being said, y'all, thank you guys for watching. I do have a lot more videos planned like this, because I got done with like 4 videos today. I recorded the GTA 6 reaction. I recorded my reaction of LiAngelo Ball's song Tweaker. I recorded another reaction. I recorded a video regarding the GTA 6, about GTA 6 getting delayed. So those are going to be out soon. But with that being said, y'all, in the meantime, this is your boy Gwop. Make sure you guys like and subscribe if you're new. And let me know how y'all feeling about Delta Force 2. And I'm out, bro. Deuces.